Hey y'all, and welcome back to Everything Eden. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I'm so excited for y'all to see the doll that I repaint in this video. I'm super proud of her and I think she's absolutely adorable. My inspiration for this doll was Dollightful's Charlotte Copperchain. Charlotte is a Lolita steampunk girl with lots of neon pink accents. I'll leave a link to Dollightful's video in the description. I fell in love with Charlotte the first time I watched Dollightful's video, and since then I've wanted to make Charlotte a companion doll. So I'll be making an electric blue steampunk robot girl that is sorta kinda Lolita-ish. Let's get into it. For this doll, I will be using Robecca Steam as a base. I start by cutting off her hair. Then I dunk her in almost boiling water to soften her head so I can remove it. Then I pull all the leftover hair and glue out through the neck hole. After that, I remove her original face with pure acetone. I just wanted to say that I absolutely adore this doll's face sculpt. Like the eye shape and the lips and the cheekbones. Oh my god, it is so beautiful. So here I'm mixing blue, white, and green paint to make a color that is honestly nowhere near the same color as the hair I'm using, but I really tried. I started with blue and white, but it was too light. So I added more blue, and it was too dark. So I added more white. And then it was too dull, so I added some green, and then it was too green, so I added more blue, and it was too dark. So I added more white, and then I just gave up and painted it on her scalp. I'm horrible with colors. The hair I'm using is from dollyhair.com. It's short nylon hair in the color Water Nixie. To reroot her hair, I take my homemade rerooting tool, load it with a bit of hair, and repeatedly shove it into the doll's head. Eventually, I have this. I want to do a half up, half down look, but the hair is too short for the top to be a ponytail, so I decide to do a bun instead. But that means I have to add more hair. So I add a line of holes around her head in order to make a part. I did this with a thumbtack that I, again, repeatedly shoved into her head. This is the result of adding the part. So much better, right? Now I use fabric fusion glue to glue her hair in place. I decided to use a different technique for the face up this time. I'm going to paint her sclera first, and then I'll add her irises and pupils on top of the paint later. This technique is better suited for dolls with darker skin. I'm really not very good with paint, so I had to keep scraping bits off with a toothpick, and I also used a brush and some acetone to clean up my mess ups. I put her hair in a little burrito, which I honestly should have done a while ago, but whatever, and I start the rest of the face up. I use Mungyo chalk pastels to start adding color to her lips, and I use a kneaded eraser to clean up the edges. I was going to add some blushing to her face, but it covered up like the natural shimmer that the doll had, so I decided against it. Now it's time to bring out the colored pencils. I use Prismacolor watercolor pencils. I use a bright blue to line her lips and add more color to them. Then I used a light brown to start sketching her eyebrows. I got the first one done very quickly, but it took me absolutely forever to make the second one match it. Since this doll is going to be a robot girl, I won't be adding any individual hairs in her eyebrows. I want them to look really dark and blocky in the end, almost like they were painted on. Once I finish with the eyebrows, I move on to sketching her eyeliner, irises, and pupils. For her pupils, I use the same blue pencil as I used for her lips. For the first layer of her eyeliner and irises, I used the same light brown pencil I used for her eyebrows. I decided to give my steampunk girl some gear eyes. They didn't turn out that great in the end, but I'm proud of them nonetheless. I wanted to give her a bit of an aloof look, but I don't think I quite succeeded. She looks a bit too nice, but I still like the expression she has. I use a black pencil to add shadows to the grooves around her faceplate. I should have used a dark brown instead of black, but it turned out fine. I just used my eraser to dull down any overwhelming black. I go back to the eyes with my light brown pencil and add eyelid wrinkles. She may be a robot, but she still deserves eyelids. I use my white pencil to basically color in the rivets that are molded onto her face. I only showed the full process of the first layer because it takes so long to do them, but on the following layers I just repeated the same process with dark brown on the second layer and then black on the third and fourth layers. Also on the fourth layer, I added catch lights to her eyes and her lips, and I painted the rivets silver. I also added some extra lines under her eyes at one point because I thought it would look cute, and I also sprayed her face with Mr. Super Clear or MSC between each layer. Once I finished with the face up, I add 3 layers of Liquitex High Gloss Varnish to her eyes and lips. Now it's time to take her hair out of the burrito and see what she looks like. She's a bit of a mess, but some hairstyling will definitely help that. I actually used my brother's Axe styling gel to help me get her hair into a neat bun. It took me absolutely forever to do her hair, so I decided to do it off camera. It's not perfect, but I think the bun is adorable. Now I need to make the rest of her hair lay down using more boiling water. I also trim her hair a bit off camera. Now it's time to paint all the teeny tiny rivets all over her body. Once I got to this point, I actually got really discouraged because it took a really long time. I was painting all these tiny dots for almost a month. I think painting the dots all over her made her look really cool. Unfortunately, most of the paint gets covered up by her clothes in the end, but I still think it was worth it. I sprayed the body with MSC to protect it. Now it's time to make her some clothes. The shirt I'm making comes from Dollightful's Steampunk Lolita dress pattern from Etsy. I'll leave the link in the description. I lost a bit of footage here, but all I did was cut out the pieces, spray check the edges, and sew the front seam, finished sides in. Then I sew the back pieces to the front along the shoulder, finished sides in. I fold the cuff pieces in half and gather them along the unfinished edge. Then I sew the frilly cuffs to the sleeves, finished sides in. Now I sew the sleeves to the bodice, finished sides in. I sew the collar together on the sides and hem the top of the blouse. Then I sew from wrist to waist, finished sides in. Now I turn the blouse right side out and hem the back. I add snaps and the blouse is finished. I don't hem the bottom because it will be tucked into the skirt I'm making next. I accidentally cut part of the collar, so I decided to cover up my mistake by gluing a gear from Hobby Lobby over the cut. This skirt is from the same pattern as before. I start by cutting out all the pieces and adding fray check to the edges. I sew the front and back pieces together along the edge, finish sides in. Then I hem along the bottom of the skirt. Now I sew the front and back pieces of the yoke together along the edges, finish sides in. Then I sew the yoke in place at the top of the skirt, finish sides in. Now I take 3 long pieces of fabric, fold them in half, and gather them along the unfinished edge. I realized later that I read the pattern wrong and I made the ruffles too short, so I had to make a 4th later. I sew the ruffles in place on the skirt. Then I sew the back together, finish sides in. I add a snap and the skirt is finished. The petticoat was supposed to be sewn to the skirt, but I didn't have the material for it when I was making the skirt, so I just made a separate piece. This is also the first time I've ever made a petticoat, so it took me 3 tries before I got it right. I cut out a large rectangle piece of mesh fabric, fold it in half, and sew along the folded edge, leaving a tunnel for a piece of elastic that will fit around the doll's waist. I pull the elastic through the tunnel and sew up the back of the petticoat. And on the 3rd try, I finally finished my first petticoat. This corset is the short overbust corset from DGRequiem's corset pattern. I'll leave the link in the description. I forgot to film myself making this, but I think it turned out really cute. I'll lace up the back later while putting it on the doll. These are Robecca steam boots that I painted to look like cute Victorian steampunk boots. I had about an hour and a half of footage of me painting these boots, but it was just too long for this video, so I didn't add it in here. I might post a separate video of the process later. For her belt, I used this little chain of gears that I found at Hobby Lobby. I just added a clasp to one of the rings holding the gears together, and that was that. For her pocket watch purse thing that I made, I used a small pocket watch that I also found at Hobby Lobby and attached a chain to it. It's very simple, but still super cute. For her earrings, I used 2 DIY earring rods that I got from Hobby Lobby and 4 of the gears I used to cover up my mistake on her shirt. I used some epoxy glue to stick the bigger gears to the earring rod first, and then I added the smaller gears on top. I got these adorable goggles from MayhemMagicAndMe on Etsy. I'll leave the link to her shop in the description. I think these goggles are the cutest things in the world. Unfortunately, they're much smaller than I thought they'd be. So instead of putting them on my doll's head, I'll be using them as a necklace. Now it's time to put her all together and see how she looks. Here's the finished result. Thank y'all so much for watching my video. I know it was really long, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more doll customizing fun. Bye!